few weeks ago, my friend Paji had a problem.
I was on ChatGPT and I was using it like I usually do. And then I thought about upgrading to premium.
So he did. But then came the problem.
But then a few weeks later, I tried to log in.
And the site told him he didn't have a subscription.
It's not showing me as a premium subscriber. And I was like, what the hell's going on?
So he retraced his steps. To sign up online, he'd Googled ChatGPT 4.0. 4.0 was the name of the latest edition of the service at that point.
So I just clicked on the first thing that came up top just because I'm so used to it. It's like a muscle memory.
But the first thing on Google was this. It wasn't a search result, it was an ad to a site that looked a lot like OpenAI's.
This thing is looking like ChatGPT, but it's actually not ChatGPT. This company managed to get above ChatGPT in their search results, and I fell for it.
When you look at them side by side, you can see why this happened. Their logos, URLs, text, and interfaces are all quite similar. And Paji's not the only person who's been tricked.
Just by Googling ChatGPT, it came up at the top
of the search results.
I just figured it's the top of the list.
It was identical to the real ChatGPT.
They have the same design, the same
interface looked pretty much the same.
I honestly thought it was the real thing.
My boyfriend said, "Oh, I don't think that's ChatGPT."
And then if you ask the chatbot, it tells you this. I think Paji's totally right to call this muscle memory. For a lot of people, when you're searching for an answer on the internet, you trust the first thing most, especially when that very first thing, at first glance, looks like what you're searching for. The problem is that very first position can be bought, and it's become a doorway into a whole world of fraud and abuse. As soon as Paji told me what had happened, I wanted to figure out how. How does an advertisement that seems designed to make people think that it's something else make it to the very top of the biggest search engine in the world? And if it can make it there, what else can? Okay, so not every search gives you sponsored results, but every sponsored result is trying to show up right here at the very top spot. That top spot hasn't always looked like this. I went back and looked at archived screenshots of what Google search used to look like. For a long time, sponsored results were clearly separated from organic search results in a colored box. First it was blue, then yellow, then green, bright blue, violet, then back to yellow, then a paler yellow, and then no colored box, just a small yellow label, then a small green label, then just a green outline, and then finally, no box, no color, no outline, just black text. When you see almost 2 decades of these changes all at once, you can see that sponsored results have been inching closer and closer to looking like regular results. So it makes sense that the difference between this and this confuses people. Every single one of these comments represents someone who spent anywhere from $20 to $60 US on a product that, according to the people who have used it, doesn't really work.
I used it for a few hours, and then I hit a limit after 10 questions. And then I was like, wait, but I paid so that I don't hit the limit.
I started realizing something was wrong when the features didn't work as expected. The models weren't even as capable as the free version of ChatGPT.
I didn't get any confirmation email or access to anything. That's the moment when I realized something went wrong.
Chatbotapp.ai says it offers access to different AI models all in the same place. It does this via APIs, basically a bridge from one application to another. And they aren't the only company taking advantage of that top sponsored spot. There's also Chatly AI, there's also ChatOn. All of these feel like they're taking advantage of the fact that nobody enters URLs anymore. You either have a bookmark, or it auto-completes, or you do this and you Google something and you try to find what you're looking for. I just want to understand if these are not the product that people are searching for when they're looking up that search term, how do they get the very top spot?
Okay. When I'm not working on running this YouTube channel, I've been spending a lot of time running.
Is it pretty
good running view. It's super important to me, brings me a lot of joy, but I'm always worried about the possibility of injury because it's such a high impact activity. But I know that one of the best ways to prevent injury is through strength training. That's where I've really benefited from the sponsor of this video, Trainwell. It's an app that pairs you with a personal trainer who designs a workout for you. If you go to go.trainwell.net/Christophe, you can take a quiz to find your ideal trainer and also get 14 days of training for free. My trainer's name is Nate. I told him that my goals are, not getting injured while running, having better mobility, also just not feeling terrible from sitting at a desk all day. And then he designs a workout for me. So this week, this is what one of my full workouts looks like. I can do these at home, I can do them at the gym, I can do them out here, basically anywhere. And all I have to do is follow along. The app is super visual and I can give feedback on if anything was too easy or too tough. If you have a smartwatch, you can connect the app to your watch so you get real-time feedback on your movement if you're doing movements correctly. And if you wear headphones, you can hear your actual trainer's voice guiding you every step of the way.
Up next is 30 seconds of wall sit.
I think the mental load of working out can be a lot. Sometimes, what do I do? When do I do it? How do I do it? How many do I do? Trainwell takes all of that mental work off of your plate. My goal was to improve strength for running, but your goal might be totally different. Trainwell trainers can create a customized plan based on your goals. Again, that's go.trainwell.net/Christophe to try 14 days of training for free.
Welcome to the Teach Traffic YouTube channel.
So I talked to Alana Wexler,
My name's Alana Wexler.
an online marketing expert who runs a YouTube channel called Teach Traffic.
If you look at Alphabet's revenue, Google search advertising is by far their biggest revenue generator and continues to increase.
This chart is in millions, so that number looks more like this.
It's their bread and butter. It's how they make money.
So I asked her, what determines which ads wind up right here?
Well, Google Ads is an auction. Advertisers bid to be shown for certain phrases.
The second you press enter, that auction begins.
But it's not a traditional auction in that the person who bids the highest wins the auction and is in the number one ad spot.
Instead of just the bid, the auction is also determined by something called quality score. It's a score between 1 and 10 that Google Search assigns based on its assessment of how relevant the ad is.
If I was a dentist and I therefore would want to bid on the keyword dentist New York, that keyword would give me a good quality score because I am a dentist and I'm getting in front of someone who is actively searching for a dentist in the location that I am. Now, as a dentist, if I bid on electrician New York because I want to get in front of people in New York, Google's going to penalize me with a bad quality score.
Together, the quality score and the bid determine the order in which these ads appear.
So you could have two advertisers bidding the same, and one has a way better quality score than the other one, and so that one with the better quality score will be in the number one ad spot.
And just like that, a sponsored result tailored to you and your search terms hits the top of your search results. So chatbotapp.ai shows up first because it's winning that auction. It's bidding enough money, and Google has assessed that it's advertising something relevant. I wanted to try this out for myself, so I set up my own Google Ads campaign and bid on the keyword chatbot app. Okay, it's under review, so I have to check back in a couple days. But after a couple of days, I still couldn't get it to show up in search. That has to be because my ad strength score is really low. Because I was linking to this YouTube channel, a site totally irrelevant to the keyword I bid on, my quality score was extremely low. So it probably didn't show up for anyone. But I did get a preview just for me. Nice. Still, I was on the hook to pay for every click that I did get. So, okay, time to immediately take this down.
Google somewhat recently released what's called their ad transparency tool. You can do a search for a domain name and see all the ads that that particular advertiser is running. Is that helpful?
It was helpful. I looked up chatbotapp.ai on the Google Ad Transparency Center to see who was behind this ad. HubX Software Services Joint Stock Company, based in Turkey. You can find the same information on the search results page itself by clicking on these three dots next to a sponsored link. On the Ad Transparency Center, I could see every single ad they were running for Chatbot app. The ads used several variations of a logo that were all clearly designed to mimic OpenAI's. Another logo variation was clearly copying DeepSeek, the Chinese AI company with its own chatbot. All of these logos to advertise the same product. But it didn't end there. The Ad Transparency Center also showed me every other ad that HubX was currently running. And it was advertising a lot more than just the chatbot. HubX was also paying for ads for AI image and video generator apps, an AI music generator app, an AI tattoo generator app, an AI calorie deficit counter app, and an AI interior designer app.
Just go into this app and upload a photo of your small space.
This wasn't just one scam, it was dozens. Or was it? Because then I looked up those apps in the App Store, and I paused. Some of HubX's apps are clearly very successful. They have tens of thousands of reviews on the App Store, positive reviews, and it's kind of making me reconsider what we're dealing with here. Maybe this isn't an outright scam, but what it's doing is still a little scammy. On the Ad Transparency Center, I found 2 ads that seemed particularly misleading, with ChatGPT and DeepSeek right there in the title. I wanted to understand if this was allowed, so I sent some emails. I sent those 2 ads to Google to see if they violated Google's policies. I reached out to OpenAI to see if they were aware of any of these ads, and I reached out to HubX to ask for comment. As I waited for a response, I started to wonder, if an ad like this can make it to the top slot, what else can?
My name is Sean Gallagher, and I am a threat researcher. My job is to click on the links nobody should click on.
Sean was a technology journalist for over 30 years and now works as a threat researcher studying cyber criminals, including cyber criminals running malicious campaigns in sponsored ads.
They're counting on you not paying attention. Sometimes that's used for what we call malvertising, which is providing an advertisement with a malicious intent. One of the techniques that's commonly used in malvertising is one site is presented as the source for an ad, and then once the ad is run, code is added to the site that redirects it to another location.
First result, it's a sponsored post. Like, that's Facebook, right? You click on that. What? From Google. This is the first result on Google for Googling Facebook.
That is not an uncommon thing. That is difficult for Google to stop up front. They will go and whack it, right? They'll say, okay, that's bad. We won't let that happen again.
Google still makes money from those ad campaigns, whether it's from legitimate ads or malicious ones. And plenty of the malicious ones fall through the cracks.
These are fairly automated systems, right? So they don't do a whole lot of exploration at the acceptance time of an ad. Odds are it will get past the initial screening.
Then I told him about Paji's situation with chatbotapp.ai. I wanted to know if this qualified as malvertising. This one right here is what he wound up signing up for, okay. Chatbotapp.ai. Any of these links kind of would have been the thing that he wanted to find.
Well, and in that case, I mean, somebody paid for an ad, right? So that was not really malvertising. It was just advertising. The service, you know, they could legitimately claim the service works, and it's kind of like ChatGPT, and you paid for a working service. So what are you complaining about, right?
So what HubX is doing is nothing compared to the very real scams that can make it into the sponsored results. I never heard back from OpenAI about whether they're aware of any of these ads, but I did get a response back from HubX. They told me that a small percentage of users may occasionally misinterpret the nature of their service because they're skimming over the product's copy or confusing API-based access with being the official app of a given provider. They said that they stay in close contact with OpenAI and Google to follow guidelines about referencing model names in their ads. But then a Google spokesperson confirmed that the 2 ads that I'd sent them did violate their policies and that they'd taken them down. They said that they prohibit ads that aim to mislead consumers about their product or service. So it's a game of whack-a-mole, and the sheer quantity of ads running on Google at any given time means that this stuff is very hard to catch until it's already out there. In 2024, Google blocked or removed 500 million ads for trademark issues and almost 147 million for misrepresentation, like these 2. But hundreds of other ads for Chatbot app, many of which are not that different from the ones Google took down, are still out there.
Imagine you going to your bank and there are 2 buildings next to each other. They both look very similar. They're both called Chase Bank. One's called maybe Chase Happy Bank, and the other one's called Chase Bank or something like that. That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, and Chase Happy Bank is like downstairs. It's like right there, and Chase Bank is upstairs. You have to go a little bit further to get to the real thing.
Right, and if you're a bit in a hurry, you end up in the wrong blue building, and they take your money.
The 3 people I talked to got their money back in the end. They recovered with some patience what they had lost from haste. The internet is a minefield of sketchy links, and all of us are trigger-happy users ready to click on the very first thing that we see. The best thing to do to make sure that we keep clicking on the things that we want to be clicking on might just be to slow down. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Trainwell for sponsoring this video. Remember, you can go to go.trainwell.net/Christophe to get 14 days of personal training for free. My name is Christophe, and on this channel, I make videos about how we find answers on the internet. If you like going down rabbit holes like this one, you should subscribe for more. I would also highly recommend you check out Search Party. My friend Sam runs this channel. He makes explainers breaking down some of the most important stories in sports and geopolitics, broken down in a really visual way. Highly recommend.